The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary. I am your host and superior webhead master, Jarod Bachman-Stubbs, and joining me, as always, is your resident Green Lantern, Professor Travis Grossman. Now, before we get into anything related to this here show, this is not the only thing that your resident professor and Green Lantern and stuff, Travis Grossman, will be joining me for this Sunday. If you have not seen on the social medias, Sunday is going to be the Hyperspace Gauntlet, the free-for-all Royal Rumble style event being put on by Epic Confrontations, the Star Wars Trivia League that I play in. I am very excited. We have like 20 plus, I think closer to 30 competitors who are going to be throwing their hat into the ring. I cannot wait. Travis will be there. Kaysen will be there. Connor will be on the desk. All of our friends of the show are going to be there. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up the graphic so I can throw that up real quick. Hold on one moment. I thought this saved earlier and it didn't. Well, it's on my computer somewhere because I made the fucking graphic. But yeah, Travis is playing. I'm playing. Alden's playing. Joe Organa's playing. Who else? Michael McCoy. Did I say Kaysen?
Yeah, you said Kaysen.
I said Kaysen. Fucking Eli's co-host Jacob is playing. Mark Perez of Braxium is playing. But y'all know, Hyperspace Gauntlet. It's going to be live 1:30 Eastern on Sunday, July 16th. I'm very excited. I'm very much excited to win. I can't. This guy won't be present. You're not going to see him on Sunday for canon reasons. I can't let Cookie Cop be seen. But anyway, be there Sunday. 20 plus Star Wars trivia combatants will enter the ring, and only one will emerge from hyperspace.
I'm bringing Wildberries level trivia here.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
For the Schmodown has Rob Filkins. If you're still here, I know you got that joke. I know we got a big laugh out of the big homie Rob Filkins. I'm hoping he's watching, just so somebody could appreciate that Wildberries shout out. I am trying to pull a like Kalinowski, Thomas Harper. I want to win and then start fucking crying like hell. I want to win and then start scream crying upon winning. Because if I win, that means whenever Alden inevitably becomes the first champion, I get to be the person to take that belt off of his shoulder. And you know what's going to help Alden feel better after I strip him of his title?
Is it goods and services?
It is in fact goods and services. In particular, goods and services from Sunday's Bloody Mary. You guys know the drill by now. Sunday's Bloody Mary has the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement in the multiverse with their 3-time award-winning spicy Caesar mix, as well as their mild and traditional mixes if the spice isn't for you. If you're trying to get your freak on and garnish that bad boy, you can also look into their award-winning garnishes with their pickled dilly beans, okra, and asparagus, and salt that rim if you're really freaky, and get your boozy tomato on with some very cute tomato themed merch. So get on over to sundaysbloodymary.com/shop. Use code TNAP, TNAP at checkout, and get 10% off your order and help out your favorite nerds whilst you do it. Now, before we get into our first couple stories today, I just got to change something real quick. There we go. Okay. Strikes be striking. I go a little out of order with how I have it listed in our show notes. The actor strike has begun. The cast of Oppenheimer walked out of the London premiere.
Yep.
We'll be reading from the New York Times here. Also, just as a heads up, like I don't want to sound pilled when I say this. You got to be careful with mainstream media with stories like this, because sometimes you're going to run into reporting that I don't want to say is necessarily fake, but it is very much coming from the perspective of a corporate agenda. There has already been very much heavily corporatized coverage of the writer's strike, something we're going to get to here in a minute. So just be weary of the fact that, a lot of the trades feed off of there being news coming out of Hollywood. And the news already hit kind of a crawl when the writer's strike started, because a lot of those big, oh, hey, this will get click news stories also came to a screeching halt, like Daredevil Born Again. Deadpool 3 is now like going to be officially, not doing anything. We forgot to mention it last week or the week before, but like Captain America Brave New World wrapped. So like that one just under the wire. So just be aware that sometimes you might see some reporting that is very much coming from the come on kind of wing in favor of the studios. But per the New York Times, Hollywood actors strike, TV and movie actors vote for biggest walkout in 4 decades. Leaders of the Hollywood union SAG-AFTRA, representing 160,000 television and movie actors, voted to strike on Thursday. Screenwriters have already been picketing over 70 days. The Hollywood Actors Union approved a strike on Thursday for the first time in 43 years, bringing the $134 billion American movie and television business to a halt over anger about pay and fears of tech-dominated futures. The leaders of SAG-AFTRA, the union representing over 160,000 television and movie actors, announced the strike after negotiations with studios over a new contract collapsed, with streaming services and artificial intelligence at the center of the standoff. On Friday, the actors will join the screenwriters who walked off the job in May on picket lines in New York, LA, and the dozens of other American cities where scripted shows and movies are made. So, a little extra context here coming from this article. Actors and screenwriters have not been on strike at the same time since 1960, when Marilyn Monroe was still starring in films, and Ronald Reagan was the head of the Actors Union. It's almost like gajillionaire conservative grifters join unions because they know they're good for them. And when they have the power to union bust, they do, because they got theirs and they start sawing at the ladder. Anyway, dual strikes pit more than 170,000 workers against old line studios like Disney, Universal, Sony, and Paramount, as well as tech juggernauts like Netflix, Amazon, and Apple. Quote, I am shocked by the way the people that we have been in this business with are treating us like this, from Fran Drescher of the Nanny fame, who is also the president of SAG-AFTRA, which I always forget that the Nanny is the president of SAG-AFTRA. Yep. There's a story about the Screen Actors Guild, and I go, oh yeah, that's really fucking funny to me. At the Actors Union said at a news conference on Thursday in LA, how far apart are we on so many things, how they pled poverty, that they're losing money left and right when giving hundreds of millions of dollars to their CEOs. It is disgusting. Shame on them. Based Nanny. Shaking her fist in anger, Ms. Drescher noted that, quote, the entire business model has changed, unquote, by streaming, and that artificial intelligence would soon change it more. This is a moment in history, a moment of truth, she said. At some point, you have to say, no, we're not going to take this anymore. Many of the actors' demands mirror those of the writers who belong to the Writers Guild of America, the WGA. Both unions say that they are trying to ensure living wages for workday members, in particular making those movies or television shows for streaming services. Screenwriters are afraid studios will use AI to generate scripts. Actors worry that technology could be used to create digital replicas of their likeness, or that performances could be digitally altered without payment or approval. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, uh, also known as AIPTA, which bargains on behalf of Hollywood companies. Audio listeners that did a jerk off motion said it had to work to reach a reasonable deal at a difficult time for an industry upended by the streaming revolution, which the pandemic sped up. The union has regrettably chosen a path that will lead to financial hardship for thousands of people who depend on the industry, the alliance said in a news release that outlined 14 areas where the studios had offered, quote, historic contract improvements. Those included, according to the alliance, an 11% pay increase in contracts first year for background actors, stand ins, and photo doubles, and a 76% increase in residual payments for, quote, high budget, unquote, shows that stream overseas. The alliance added in a separate statement, "We are deeply disappointed that SAG-AFTRA has decided to walk away from negotiations. This is the union's choice, not ours." Behind the scenes, studio executives responded to Ms. Drescher's fury in varying ways. Some said they had underestimated her ability to lead the sometimes fractious actors union, discounting her as little more than the cartoonish figure she played on The Nanny for 6 seasons in the 1990s.
What?
Others,
We looking at a woman in power and thinking that she's lesser? Couldn't be business executives.
but Travis, Hollywood is woke. Others continue to mock her as giving an Academy Award caliber performance at the union's news conference. Though Hollywood had been bracing for a writer's strike since the beginning of the year, the screenwriters have walked out 8 times over the past 7 decades, most recently in 2007. The actors' uncharacteristic resolve caught senior executives and producers off guard. The actors last staged a major walkout in 1980 when the economic particulars of a still nascent boom in home video rentals and sales was a sticking point. Just like the fucking writer's strike. Their latest action is part of a resurgent labor movement, particularly in California, where hotel workers, school bus drivers, teachers, and cafeteria staff have all gone on strike for some duration in recent months. General strike, general strike, general strike, general strike. We talk about Cape shit, but I want you all to go on strike. The first distress signal for the studios came in early June when roughly 65,000 members of the actors union voted to authorize a strike. Almost 98% of the voters supported the authorization, a figure that narrowly eclipsed the writers' margin. Still, studio negotiators. I know the Squires are watching the podcast because I know I know Matt had jokes to make about my or the Spencer's Bible Man thing. So enjoy, guys. We're back to Jared can't read memes. Still, negotiators went into the talks feeling optimistic. They were taken aback when they saw the list of proposals from the union, a total of 48 pages, nearly triple the size of the list during their last negotiations in 2020. According to two people familiar with the proposals who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the confidential talks. Then in late June, more than 1,000 actors, including Meryl Streep, John Leguizamo, Jennifer Lawrence, Constance Wu, and Ben Stiller signed a letter to Guild leadership declaring pointedly that, quote, "we are prepared to strike." Hollywood studios will now need to navigate a two-front labor war with no modern playbook to consult. There are many open questions, including whether the actors and the writers may demand that future negotiations with the studio be conducted in tandem. One guild that will not be included, the Directors Guild of America, which ratified a contract last month. The actors' walkout will provide an immediate boon to the striking writers who have been walking picket lines for more than 70 days. The Writers Guild has yet to return to bargaining with the studios. Now those picket lines are likely to be raucous and star-studded spectacles. Struggling thespians still trying to get a foothold next to A-listers with bodyguards who are paid $20 million or more per movie role. The strikes are the latest monumental blow to an entertainment industry that has been rocked in recent years by the pandemic and sweeping technological shifts. Hollywood studios have watched their share prices nosedive and their profit margins shrink as viewership for cable and network television, as well as box office returns, have collapsed in the wake of explosive growth of streaming entertainment. Many companies have resorted to layoffs as well as purging series from their streaming services, all in the name and trying to increase profit margins and satisfy reluctant investors. Studio executives have already put the brakes on ordering new television series last year as their streaming services continue to burn through cash. In an interview with CNBC on Thursday morning, Disney's chief executive, Robert A. Iger, said that given all the, quote, disruptive forces in the business, quote, this is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption. Sorry, it's inconvenient for you, fucking millionaire. Barry Diller, the veteran media executive, said in an interview that the upheaval in the industry had caused distress for both sides. Quote, you have a complete change in the underlying economics of the entertainment business that it previously held for certainly the last 50 years, if not the last 100, he said. Everything was basically imbalanced under the hegemony of 5 major studios, and then, oh my God, along came the tech companies and Apple, Apple and Amazon, and the fast transformative things that have come out of COVID. The result of which is you have a business that's just completely upended. After the strike announcement, the union issued rules for its members. Along with not being able to work in front of the camera, they're not permitted to promote current projects. That includes attending Comic-Cons, film festivals, and movie premieres. This is extremely prescient as we have, like we said, the red carpet and premiere events for Oppenheimer. Just had the plug pulled on it with the cast walkout, and San Diego Comic-Con is next weekend. And we also have Haunted Mansion on the verge of being released as well. Some of those promotional opportunities have already disappeared. Late night shows like Stephen Colbert and The Tonight Show have been running only repeat episodes during the writer's strike. The effect of the dual strikes should be noticeable to viewers within a couple of months. Unless there is an immediate resolution to the labor disputes, the ABC fall schedule, for instance, will debut with nightly lineups of reality series and game shows, including Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, Dancing with the Stars, and Judge Steve Harvey, as well as repeats of Abbott Elementary. The strike drags into the fall. Blockbuster films scheduled to be released next summer, like Deadpool 3, will likely be delayed. So, yeah, that was a full article. I wanted to give like the full context and flesh all of that out. So, yeah, personally, I would very much like to see the heat be turned all the way up on these fucking studios by this dual guild strike. I know the Producers Guild was also up in the air there for a minute, and I have a bit of a conspiracy theory. Travis, do you have any thoughts before we start talking about the what's going on with the writers' strike? Before I give my I want to do the writer's strike one, and then I have my conspiracy theory I mentioned to you in the TNAP Discord.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This is one of those like the world's on fire and I have one bucket of water kind of feelings.
Yeah.
And like we'll talk about some other stuff in a minute. It feels like the bad guy is now openly admitting that they're cheating.
Yes.
Right? Like we've gone full. Oh yeah, we've been cheating the whole time. It was never a fair fight.
The quiet part is very much loud now.
Yeah. Except I just economics isn't real. I'm an accountant. I have to take economics. Economics isn't real. Anyone who says they've studied like in-depth economics is lying to you. We made it all up. It's all bullshit. It isn't how people work. And it's not how we should do art. And this is one of those like, man, I wanna undo this whole timeline kind of feelings, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's utterly disappointing and frustrating, you know. And I know that like there's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to look at something like the actors strike and be like, well, I don't give a shit, because when they hear actors, they're thinking of the bajillionaire, movie leads, and not thinking about people who like get to pay their rent because they were on Law and Order last week.
Yeah.
That is a joke in New York City, where if you're an actor in New York City, your rite of passage is you were on Law and Order, and now you don't have to worry about rent for a while because you were a dead body, or you were some fucking barista who Olivia Benson questioned for 30 seconds. Like you may be you may be forgotten between the next gong gong and now, but like that put food on your table.
You qualify for healthcare.
You qualify for healthcare. Most actors, like, again, like I want everybody to think about that number again real quick. 160,000. Okay, sure, there's going to be a lot of people who are living a lot more luxuriously than any of us listed in that 160,000. However, there's going to be more people who are living paycheck to paycheck, who are living, in big cities that do not accommodate its poor at all. They're like those are the people who you got to fight for. Same with the writers' strike. Again, like I think a lot of people think, oh, like you work in Hollywood, oh, you work on this TV show, oh, you work on movies, you got to be a bajillionaire. Fucking no. They just work with more proximity to fame. And you have a bunch of people who are trying to be able to, just only have to do that one job. And now we have the studios basically lighting every single bridge on fire, refusing to acquiesce, refusing to give ground. I'm going to jump into the writer's strike story here because this is just fucking obscene. The fact that anybody felt comfortable enough to say this out loud,
yeah,
disgusts me. Like this is when I go into fucking guillotine mode. You say what you were going to say before I start reading the quotes.
That's what I mean. Like we're at the point, and here's the thing, most of what they do, even if it's not by them, is very calculated. They wouldn't be putting it all on the table like that if they weren't confident they were going to win. And as like terrible as that is to say.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not even like one of the people primarily impacted. Neither of us are.
Yeah.
It like by the immediate industry impact. But I just like it's really fucking disheartening.
I couldn't agree with you more. This is a Deadline exclusive that came out a day or so ago. Byline from Dominic Patton. Exclusive updated with AMPTP statement, regardless of whether SAG-AFTRA goes on strike this week. The studios have no intention of sitting down with the Writers Guild for several more months. That is from the AMPTP. Quote, I think we're in for a long strike and they're going to let it bleed out, said one industry veteran intimate with the point of view of studio insiders. With Scribes on strike now, finishing its 71st day, and the Actors Union just 30 hours from a possible labor action of its own, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers are planning to dig in hard this fall before even entertaining the idea of more talks with the WGA. Quote, not Halloween precisely, but late October for sure is the intention, says a top producer close to the Carol Lombardi-run AMPTP. While some dismiss this as just cynical strike talk, studio and streamer sources around town confirm the strategy. They also confirm that the plan to grind down the guild has long been in the works for a labor cycle that all sides agree is a game changer. Sorry. An ad disappeared and threw off the whole page. A game changer one way or another for Hollywood. It's not agreed to for months, even before the DGA. It's been agreed to for months, even before the DGA went out, one executive said. Nobody wanted a strike, but everybody knew this was make or break. Receiving positive feedback from Wall Street since the WGA went on strike on May 2nd, Warner Brothers Discovery, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Paramount, and others have been determined to, quote, break the WGA, as one studio exec blatantly put it. To do so, the studios in the AMPTP believe that by October, most writers will be running out of money after 5 months on the picket line and no work. The end game is to allow things to drag out until union members start losing their apartments and losing their houses, the studio executive told Deadline. Acknowledging the cold as ice approach, several other sources reiterated the statement. One insider called it cruel but necessarily evil.
Man, it's almost like all those people should die.
It's like, seriously, like I cannot imagine being able to sleep at night and going, we will just make them homeless so that they're willing to work for us again.
I could go to sleep at night thinking that about those people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, because they've already demonstrated a lack of human empathy.
Yeah, and they're not human.
No,
I don't mean that in a conspiracy way. I mean that like in the pit of their soul, they're not human, and I would beat each of them within an inch of their life if I saw them in the street and knew who they were.
There is a depravity here that is just beyond the fucking pale. Pardon me. I said this on Twitter the other day. I'm going to reiterate it here. We find ourselves very often with the culture war element of like pop culture news, having to like go to bat for people like Bob Iger.
Bat, that's a good one. Let's use baseball bats.
Okay, I'm about to turn in. Okay, we're very much having a Dan Freese and Jordan Holmes relationship right now, and as much as I agree with you, also YouTube TOS.
In Minecraft.
Sensational. That's his word.
I'm saying go golfing with a crowbar, and I'm not saying what your golf ball should be. That's all.
Anywho, we'll often be going to bat for CEOs and executives in suits because they decided that having queer people in a movie would mean that queer people would go see it. They decided that having a Star Wars t-shirt with a rainbow on it meant that somebody would probably buy it. And while we can have conversations about woke media and what the fuck that means and all the weird conspiracy theories there and like all that horse shit, we need to make sure we don't lose track of the fact that, Bob Iger, whose net worth has done nothing but increase while these companies are somehow bleeding, they're talking about, oh, we got to lay everybody off. Oh, all these financial hardships for these billion-dollar companies. Also, their CEOs are seeing record profits while they're laying people off. So maybe, just maybe, there's something fucky in the water. And people like Bob Iger, who say that the current tone of the WGA is quote unquote disturbing, I find myself more disturbed by the fact that a room full of, fucking CEOs in cloaks gathered around a fire sacrificing art to the goddamn money gods, are going to go, you know what? Once they're homeless, maybe they won't worry that much about having to write for robots. If you're able to support or donate to any of these causes, to any of the funds that are going to help keep the writers and the actors on the picket line, please do support these strikes. There is only one. The good guys in this argument could not be more fucking obvious.
It is weird in situations like this to see people not understand that this isn't a two sides thing. There's normal, and I guess that like comparing it like this, but like in the range of what should be happening or like what we're defending is the normal thing. And it feels like we're trying to prop it up in this like, act like we're great because actors and writers should make a living wage. When in reality, it's like, no, that should be our, like, that's the baseline. That's where we're trying to be because that's where the normal should be. And the, like, over here is so apprehensively evil that this feels like we're trying to virtue signal in the same way that like, oh, there should be representation in art feels like we're over here, it's mirrored, so now my whole thing's off.
Yeah.
But like it feels like we're trying to be like, no, everything should be woke, and it's like, no, art should represent the world around it, and the world around it is queer and of color, and like that's how the world is. You know,
Yeah.
like it's I'm always going to be represented in art. Everybody else should always be represented in art. That's the baseline.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, all I'm saying is if their Minecraft coordinates get leaked,
My voice. Excuse me.
We're gonna sick Paul Stanley on him. I need to save some type of audio file that's just a long protracted bleep. Okay, again, don't get it twisted. I agree with everything he is saying. I am just
violence is never the answer, which is why I'm not asking a question.
God damn. Where's your bulb now? Holy shit. Okay. So switching gears now. We're gonna talk about the fun comic book movie news and try not to get angry thinking about everything going on right now. So first things first. I'll start with what broke first. I was at the grocery store with my girlfriend. I was trying to get some buttermilk and some salt and vinegar chips for the weekend, and my phone starts buzzing with breaking news with an exclusive from the Hollywood Reporter. Jennifer Garner returning as Elektra Natchios for Deadpool 3. Yeah. I think so. So we have this. This is a very, very fun, exciting announcement. Jennifer Garner's coming back to play Elektra. There were rumors circulating not too long ago that had to do with Ben Affleck reprising his role as Matt Murdock. Some people have been saying that since the Elektra stuff is confirmed, that also seemingly confirms the Ben Affleck stuff. I'm not quite as willing to go an A then therefore B.
No, Jared, I've seen the whole script. The whole movie has leaked.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ben Affleck is back both as Daredevil and as Batman. Actually, it's kind of crazy.
I knew you were about to say, the moment you said Ben Affleck, I was like, he's going to say he's Batman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman is both
Knew it.
Wolverine and his character from Oklahoma.
And the guy from The Prestige. And the real villain of the movie, Hugh Jackman, is P.T. Barnum. But no, I don't know if like I'm more willing to believe the Ben Affleck Daredevil rumors at this stage of the game. However, it'd be cool. It'd be cool. I'm here for it. I dig it. Loyal listeners, viewers, students of the Nerd Academy will remember that when Deadpool 3 was announced with Hugh Jackman being involved in it, my prevailing theory was that the whole plot of Deadpool 3 was going to be that an incursion was starting where the MCU world was colliding with the Earth that housed a bunch of the Fox, or Earths that housed the Fox continuities, and that it would be a tongue-in-cheek way of Deadpool 3 making fun of Disney buying 20th Century Fox. And moving on into our other Deadpool 3 related story, you guys have seen by now the set photos. We got our first look at Hugh Jackman in a comic accurate adjacent Wolverine costume. Travis, thoughts on the new suit? I think it looks incredible.
So first of all, I want to say anyone calling this photo a leak needs to like I can't keep going with the violence, but like please sober up. Please drink some water. Go for a walk.
Well,
These are not
there
leaked.
were like leaked set photos.
Yes, but there are people I've seen specifically, not like individuals, but like
Yeah,
the bad
referring to like
ones.
the one that Ryan Reynolds put on his Insta story.
As like, oh, have you seen the Wolverine leaks? And it's like, no, I saw the photo Ryan Reynolds, like the prevailing head of this movie, posted, and Hugh Jackman, the actor in the photo, posted.
Yeah,
You know,
I
and Marvel posted.
our friend of the show, Armin from Comic Book Cast, made a joke in the Comic Book Cast Facebook group, and I do agree with him, where he was like, because it was like right after the photo that was released by Ryan Reynolds, the Deadpool movie, social media, etc., etc. That image was released, and then like within hours, there were a shitload of set photos of Deadpool, Wolverine, the 20th cent like the wreckage of a 20th Century Fox sign, um, photos of what looked like a fight between Deadpool and Wolverine, which also enjoy the very last set photo story you're going to hear about for a little bit while we talk about it. But yeah, I think that while I am willing to call the set photos leaks ish, you know,
Yeah, I'm
I
talking specifically about the one
yeah
that Ryan posted.
yeah no that
It's
is
dumb. Just call
frustrating.
it a just call it a set photo. It's easy.
Yeah it's
Um,
yeah.
as as for the suit, love it. Shouldn't have sleeves.
So from what I've heard, apparently Hugh Jackman has a skin condition that makes him more susceptible to like skin cancer and shit. And that may be why they gave the suit sleeves so that
Skill
more of
issue.
his body was. Jesus Christ, Travis. Fucking A.
He has had cancer, or not cancer, but like he's had surgeries before for that condition. I remember that specifically. Like I think he had something done with his nose for that. A couple years ago, like maybe even pre-pandemic. So that
I
is
had zero knowledge about this skin stuff until I saw people. Until I saw. Here's something I thought was funny. Are you familiar with Bat in the Sun?
no
Superpower Beatdown? Um, it was a cool versus show. It was like a high budget, they get like professional cosplayers in to play like comic book characters and do a poll like a who would win in a fight, and then they'd, fucking film the fight. Um the cosplayer who played the superpowered beatdown Wolverine and all of the Bat in the Sun people when the fucking Wolverine costume like was revealed were incessantly being like, Bat in the Sun did it first and better. Look at us. Look how much better our suit is. It doesn't have fucking sleeves. And like, I understand people not liking the sleeves. I totally get that. I do not begrudge you or anybody else who wishes the suit was just no sleeves with like the goofy helmet. I get it. The
yeah. I should
amount of
also
people who
clarify.
like,
My statement isn't the suit is bad because it has sleeves. It's wow, this is so cool that we're finally getting a comic suit. Kind of wish it didn't have sleeves. Very different statement.
oh yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'm not trying to lump you in with the people who like
Yeah, no, I know you're
saw
not.
this suit and immediately were like, it looks like shit. It's like, you motherfuckers have done nothing but bitch and moan about Wolverine not wearing blue and yellow for the last 20 odd years. And the moment we get it, instantaneous bitching.
Jared, it was never about the suit. It was about sending a message.
Okay, so I need a long bleep and I need the strings from The Dark Knight. Have MP3s that will play whenever Travis starts going on a rant. The set photos are interesting. Like I was saying, though, I think seeing the Fox Studios sign is like wreckage where Wolverine and Deadpool are throwing down, and Jennifer Garner's return, as well as all the other rumored appearances. I think I did it again. I feel confident that I no-scoped another one.
Another one.
Another one. Now, when the movie comes out, feel free to clip this and make fun of me if I'm dead wrong, but I don't think I am. Everybody, take note of the time code wherever you are in this episode, be it audio or video. So yeah, Deadpool 3, very exciting stuff. Won't be seeing that until probably 2025. So plenty of time there. Speaking of exciting movies that we are not going to see for some time, thank you, Hollywood executives, for ruining our fun. We have some bombshell casting in the realm of Superman Legacy. This story broke, and I immediately texted Travis. Warner Brothers has begun rounding out the cast for the DC franchise. Resetter Superman Legacy. Peter Safran has announced in a new piece of Vanity Fair that Nathan Fillion, Isabel Merced, and Edie Gathegi, I heard someone say it today. I was able to get that right. Are all coming aboard Superman Legacy. Fillion will be playing Green Lantern Guy Gardner. Gathegi will be playing Mr. Terrific. And Merced will be playing Hawkgirl. Wild, I mean, this is all great casting. I haven't seen any of these folks, and let me rephrase that. I would say I've seen Fillion in plenty. I have not seen Gathegi or Merced in anything yet. However, Merced will also be in Madam Web.
I think you have seen Merced in something.
Oh, motherfucker! Wait, that's right. Yeah. She was fucking Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
I said that. I said, wait a minute. No. I do know what I've seen her in. I'm not going to base my opinion on her acting on that movie.
As you shouldn't. I remember you telling us about seeing it, which is why, because I was looking, I'm like, okay, I don't know the other two. I should see what they're in, because Edie is in Twilight. I don't know what his character's name is. I forget already how it's pronounced.
Oh, I bet I can tell. I know exactly who he played. Who he played. He played fucking Laurent.
Yes, that's it. And then I was looking up Isabella and was like, I don't know her if she seems young, and I don't know her from anything. And oh my god, she was Dora.
And oh my god, she was Dora the Explorer when she fought Jango Fett. Tamora Morrison was the bad guy in that. But yeah, no, I love this lineup. I think this is really exciting stuff. I am so excited to see what the fuck James Gunn is cooking.
Yeah.
That his Superman movie involves Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl, on top of the fact that it's likely to include the Authority as well. Again, my knowing nothing substantive about Superman Legacy aside from what's been officially announced, I don't know any of the rumors. Again, I will continue to shout out to Nando V Movies, whose pitch for that movie being an adaptation of What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way, being transplanting that group of like hard-edged superheroes with the Authority, and maybe like having it be the Authority plus Manchester Black, being an idea here, something that apparently is getting kicked around in the rumor sphere. I just hope he's right. And it somehow involves Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific. Like I said, it's very exciting stuff. It also immediately makes the statement that, like, because we knew the Green Lanterns were like already a thing from the announcement, right? How we're supposed to get that buddy cop show with Jon Stewart. Did he say John and Hal, or was it just Jon Stewart? I can't remember.
He said primarily John.
Okay.
With another cat, and I have to look at the announcement again. But I think John would be like the leading character.
Yeah, Jon Stewart, like led by Jon Stewart. I just love the fact that like the Green Lanterns are just Green Lanterning.
Yeah.
And because of that, James Gunn's like, well, fuck it. Guy Gardner's already here, so he's cool. Yeah, no, this is very exciting stuff. I sent this to Travis, and I was like, "Oh my god, Nathan Fillion is playing Hal Jordan," because it just said Green Lantern in the headline, and I got so excited that I sent it to Travis before I read it. And then the message I get back from Travis is, "Oh my god, he's playing Guy," and
Because you sent it to me and I saw the headline and went, okay, so they're finally doing the thing. They're finally
Yeah.
giving Nathan Fillion a ring in live action because he's played Hal in animation before.
yes,
And I thought for a second before I looked into it, I'm like, this is James Gunn. He's not gonna do the like normie give him Hal Jordan pick. And like just I've seen people complain about Fillion's age for this role. Who cares? Just de-age him if you want to go that far. Like
not even de-age him. Like
you don't
like,
have to, but you could. Like Sam
Yeah.
Jackson played a like 20-something-year-old version of himself in Captain Marvel. Anything is possible through the power of God. And so if you're that worried about age, don't be. And
Well, I
I
remember
think
seeing Guardians 3, and whenever he shows up, I was like, yeah, he could still play Hal Jordan. Like, that was one of the first things I thought when I saw him in
like
his
good makeup
goofy
goes a
little
long
meat
way.
suit. Yeah, a
Like,
little makeup, you
He's
know? Like, he'll
he's
be,
aged
yeah.
like wine and some good makeup and lighting, he'll be fine. But I was thinking about it and I'm like, I feel like he's outaged Hal, not like literally, but just in the projects I see him in and the roles he takes, and just like what I think, based on the fact that, of course, I know Nathan Fillion so personally, as I know every actor I like. If I'm Nathan Fillion and I'm getting pitched as a Green Lantern, I wouldn't want Hal. I'd want to be a more interesting pick. And immediately I was like, okay, so what if he plays Guy Gardner? That'd be so crazy if I had him playing Guy Gardner. Pulls up full article. Nathan Fillion is Guy Gardner through my phone.
I was so excited that I saw the news and sent it to you, and then you were actually the person who broke the news to me in a very ass backwards way. But yeah, and then the next day it was immediately followed up with that crazy development with news that Anthony Carrigan, co-star of Barry, starring Bill Hader, is going to be playing Metamorpho.
Man, I love James Gunn. I'm not a big Metamorpho fan, but the fact that he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do the wacky shit. This is what I'm talking about. DC stories thrive when you're dropped in, like when they Star Wars you, they drop you in the middle, and everyone's just kind of there, and you don't need an explanation. You just kind of got to know how their powers work. Hawk Girl, easy. Green Lantern, easy. Mr. Terrific, he's smart, y'all. Metamorpho, easy. Like, I'm just so excited. I'm so excited.
And the thing is that I think is interesting. Somebody tweeted or threaded at James Gunn and was like, and brought up the idea of this being set up for something else. And James Gunn had an interesting reaction where he said, I've never introduced a character into something to quote unquote set something else up. They're all here to like service the story because I think they will add something to it. And while obviously I'm not going to say that I don't believe James Gunn, I also think that there's something to be said for the fact that like they're clearly going into this first chapter, Gods and Monsters, with a vision, with an idea. So while I do not want to say, oh, he's lying, it is set up. I do think he is earnestly saying what he's saying about why these characters are in Superman Legacy. And it is also like starting to lay groundwork at the same time.
I think if I'm Gunn, I'm smart enough to know, and by that I mean I'm calling James Gunn smart,
Yeah.
that if I'm preparing these projects, and like even if you look at the MCU, you can't set things up in your movies without any background because you can't predict what's going to take off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I can't think of a single project in the MCU where, well, I can. It's Agent Coulson or Agents of Shield, right? Where like Phil Coulson was such a popular character in Avengers and throughout the beginning of the MCU that they were like, well, okay, we'll spin him off into a TV show that's canonicity is kind of fluid with the MCU. But like in terms of the films, there was never a point where they were able to easily predict, and this character will blow up, so we'll give them a movie. With the exception of like Black Panther, maybe, but they were clearly like they were already working on Black Panther after they cast
Yeah.
Chadwick in Civil War. You know, or like Spider-Man, they like introducing them into Civil War first wasn't like a we'll see if they pop off and then make a movie. It was we're doing this to set them up to establish them so that their movies fit better into the sequence of events.
And we could kind of hit the ground running. I also think there's something to be said for the fact that like there are a lot of people who will post online. They're like, this is how I would make this universe, and I'd introduce this character here to set up. And like the MCU, I don't think the MCU has ever really been like, we're putting this character here to set up blank. It's
Right.
always been like synergistically, this will pay off in the next movie because now you know Black Panther. Now you've gotten to know the MCU Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, these new characters, we're going to kind of like we're going to give you an opportunity to play test them. But like, they're also like here for the story that we're telling. And things can be both synergistic and standalone. I think those two things can coexist.
I agree. I mean, Marvel Phase 1 is the perfect example.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I think twofold. One, I think that's where Warner Brothers has faltered in the past. Like I think they were doing the setup, like they were building everything on setup and not just making a movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
On
Make
top
the
of
movie and then go, oh, synergistically, this might, we might be able to like it's like building, it's like a circuit, like the energy needs to flow through it, in an efficient way. And then at that point, then you can start doing all the cool shit.
Yeah. And then also like separate but equal conversation. That was a bad turn of phrase. I'm going to cancel myself on that one. I'm done. Podcast is over.
Maybe I'll walk out of here tomorrow and you never see me again. That's really what I want to do.
I'm sick of being called a grifter. I'm sick.
That was a 1-2 punch of InfoWars clips, everybody. Paco's punching the air in excitement right now.
What I'm getting at is I've seen a lot of articles recently talking about all of the projects that were canceled because the Flash bombed. And I think those projects just got canceled because we're no longer going with the Flash route of the DCEU. And those projects, I don't believe we're ever going to make it off the ground anyway because Warner Brothers did a Warner Brothers. I'm talking specifically about like the Batman Beyond movie. There was a couple other ones that I saw floating around.
Well, I know. Well, the thing about the Batman Beyond one is that Kevin Smith, was talking about how like he was talking to somebody at Warner Brothers, who was saying like if the Flash can perform similarly to the Batman, then we're gonna like start allocating resources to a Batman Beyond joint with Keaton.
But I think that discussion must have happened significantly before James Gunn came into effect.
Totally. Oh, no. I agree with you completely.
Because obviously that isn't the case if the end of the movie doesn't feature Michael Keaton. Obviously that isn't the case if they canceled the Batgirl that stars Michael Keaton in it. So the Flash bombing has nothing to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It may have just been like the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, we can officially pack this up, even though we knew this probably wasn't going to happen. Any hoozles. Yeah, other bit of news, big fucking news. This one caught me off guard, and I'm very excited by it. We are getting a Black Panther game, which is extra exciting because we also have that Captain America and Black Panther game coming down the pipeline. This is from Marvel.com. Wakanda Forever. As we celebrate the 57th anniversary of Black Panther's comic book debut this July, we're thrilled to announce Cliffhanger Games, a new AAA development studio based in Seattle, is working on an original third-person single-player Black Panther game in collaboration with Marvel Games. Their mission is to build an expansive, reactive world that empowers players to experience what it is like to take on the mantle of Wakanda's protector, the Black Panther. Led by Kevin Stevens of Monolith Productions, Cliffhanger has already brought together an accomplished talent with leaders from the critically acclaimed and innovative action-adventure games Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, along as veterans of top franchises including Halo, God of War, and Call of Duty. We're dedicated to delivering fans a definitive and authentic Black Panther experience, giving them more agency and control over their narrative than they have ever experienced in a story-driven video game. Wakanda is a rich superhero sandbox, and our mission is to develop an epic world for players who love Black Panther and want to explore the world of Wakanda as much as we do, said Kevin Stevens. But yeah.
I didn't like some of the verbiage in that. I do not like games. I almost made a really bad joke.
Did you hear that? Did you hear
Not
that?
really. No.
Oh, fucking huge thunder crash.
Oh, maybe that's that rain we were supposed to get today that we never got. I don't know if you got rain, but
I
were
got
supposed to have rain.
I got a notification like 15 minutes ago. It's like rain in your area will stop around whenever, and I'm like, oh, I don't hear the rain because this is a window, as y'all have seen before, like when the sun peeks through the green screen. This is hung up over a window, and I was like, oh, I'm starting to hear the rain, and as I had that thought, kerpow. Anyway, as you were saying,
my go-to pointing is Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Oh no, honey.
Right. So when a game tells you can
not the Odyssey trauma.
Yeah, Odyssey trauma. When a game tells you that you are going to experience a story in a very personalized way, that means there's no story. To me. You can't develop a complex single player plot where you as the player are making decisions that's supposed to affect the narrative and have it actually affect the narrative. I have done in several different games where this is the case at like what are clearly meant to be pivotal moments. I have done a dialogue option, reset, done the next dialogue option, reset, just to see what happens. All the dialogue is pitched to the same option actually, because they oopsie daisied into writing one plot that's supposed to have multiple outcomes. It doesn't work, and it leads to a bad taste in my mouth as an experience. Gameplay wise, I'm sure the game will be spectacular. It's kind of hard to mess that up. In terms of a celebration of Black Panther, I hope it's good. Like, I don't want it to be bad. I want that to be clear. I'm not advocating for this game to not be good.
Travis actively does not want there to be a good Black Panther game.
Of course. No, that was part of so I always said I don't like games that star black people, but like
somebody clip that.
Yep, someone. Yeah, at least I didn't say it vehemently, like I was about to as a bit, you know. But yeah, no.
This bitch.
No.
You racist bitch. Anyway,
any superhero game, I want to be really good. I want the story to be excellent. We have Spider-Man now. Like if you're not Spider-Manning, you should be Spider-Manning.
I got a little bit of light flicker.
Oh no.
Just as a heads up.
Oh no. All right.
Real quick story before we take a little break here and get into TV talk and our Q&A segment for the week. Shang-Chi was delayed. No shit, Sherlock. I look forward to Shang-Chi too. I love Shang-Chi in The Legend of the Ten Rings. I thought it was a lot of fun. I like Simu Liu. However, with the writer's strike and now the actor strike, everything's going to be delayed. I want you to take every single release date you have memorized, crumple it up, and just throw it in like a barrel of fire because that release date does not mean diddly shit anymore. At least for the stuff that's like coming out years from now. But yeah, with that, real quick,
does mean diddly shit. My bladder, because I have to pee.
Travis has to pee real quick before we go to break. Again, the Hyperspace Gauntlet this Sunday, live 1:30 p.m. on the Star Wars in a Galaxy YouTube channel. It might do not take this as gospel because Eli and I haven't figured it out yet. It may stream here. So go to the Star Wars in a Galaxy YouTube channel. It'll be linked below. Go like set the reminder for the event. But you may also be able to watch it on this channel. But watch it on Eli's channel. It's a little bit more. Eli's awesome and deserves more viewers.
Let's talk my adventures with
Superman.
Travis,
Right
I'm gonna
back
give you
to
the
talk
floor
about
first
Secret
here.
Invasion. My adventures. With
Perfect.
Superman,
No
and
notes.
answer some questions.
It's everything I wanted. It's everything I wanted. Just the style, the writing, the fight choreography, giving respect to Jimmy Goddamn Olsen. That's his legal name.
I thought it was Jimmy got shot in the head because he works for the CIA. Olsen.
No, that's his cousin. Nobody cares about Jimmy Olsen. Not a single person.
No.
Which is why he's never been in a Superman property until now. Even in the comics, he just didn't exist. I hate Zack Snyder, but yeah, just man, I needed fun in my life. I needed some fun Superman. I needed fun comic book stuff. I like that his powers are kind of shonen-y.
They're shonen-y, and he doesn't quite understand them yet, which I like. Like I like that he'd never used heat vision or the ice breath or like he even used super hearing.
And like he doesn't know, like there's a language barrier between him and Jor-El at first. Jor-El
I love that.
looks sick.
Jor-El looks cool as fuck. He looks like Odin. I love the whole thing where it's like Jor-El is speaking Kryptonian.
Mm-hmm.
And Clark has no way of understanding what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, everything about this show. Perfect.
I could not agree with you more. We are in a bit of a time crunch, so we are zooming through this a little bit, and I apologize for that. We're gonna get to the questions from this week next week. We're gonna kind of like do TV talk and then wrap here. So apologies to you guys. A little bit of between the break, the storm's raging, and I'm trying to get out before we lose the show in the process here.
Before you're literally struck by lightning.
Yeah, literally struck by lightning. But no, I absolutely loved it. I love the tone. This is exactly what I want Superman Legacy to be. Kind of breezing on through here to Secret Invasion.
I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real.
Boom. You looking for this?
Rhodey is in fact a Skrull. Yes, all of the people who had their money on it were right. I am very, very excited to see how long Rhodey has been a Skrull. I loved the action in this episode. R.I.P. Talos, one of my favorite supporting MCU characters, gone too soon.
Something about that moment. First of all, Rhodey is a scroll, be damned. I predicted the exact opening minutes of this episode last week. You can clip it if you want. I was right. I'm joining the Writers Guild.
What did you
that.
predict? What did you predict again?
Oh, that the first 5 minutes of this episode would just be a scene explaining the end of last week's episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like we would have all the answers of that confrontation within 5 minutes, and we did.
Yes. I mean, I again, and I give
That,
you know,
which isn't. I'm not saying that as a negative.
No, I hear you, and again, I want to bulldoze over the nuance here. Like I said, I'm just trying to speed up before we lose power again with this storm. I wish this show was longer. I wish I had more episodes. I feel like it's zooming by, because I'm really enjoying it. I wish this show had more room to breathe. Like that is, I think by the time this is over, it is going to be my chief complaint that we're just kind of like right through and like not giving anybody time to like kind of like to kind of simmer in what they're saying or doing. And people,
it feels like
it
feels like some of the action got trimmed in a weird way. Like Talos's death scene felt off, but not in the something's amiss here and we're gonna find out later. But in
like there was a scene cut between him getting killed by Gravik and him getting wounded.
Like there's something awkward here about the way he dies, and I don't know what it is. Like something in the acting, maybe. And again, not like everything's terrible in that scene, but like something just felt off-putting to me there.
I do love Talos's last stand, though. I do love him like fighting through the pain of what is clearly like him changing, from his long-term form. One other quick, like little tiny baby gripe, and then I'm gonna do Patreon shout out stuff. I'm gonna record that later when this is done. Thising. Fury should have had lasers.
Yeah.
I wish this universe like leaned into its sci-fi elements and like we just had laser guns and shit. But it is what it is. It's not bad. But yeah, great episode. I'm gonna play this clip again because I made it for this.
I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real.
Boom. You looking for this?
Anyway, apologies for the shorter episode. Like I said, we're going to be doing a roundup of the Q&A stuff next week. Hey, y'all. Apologies, like I said, I'm trying to just beat the storm here because we've already lost power a couple times, and I do not want to chance losing the episode as a whole in the process. So, as I said earlier, throwing to future Jared to do there was a very bad thunderstorm happening, and we lost power a couple times, and I was kind of getting antsy about, the episode maybe going the way of the dodo. In the event we lost power while anything was rendering or anything like that. So I wanted to cut the episode a little bit short there, and I apologize for that. I apologize for the Q&As not getting addressed. Those will be taken care of in our next news roundup. There will be, fingers crossed, 2 episodes of the main show next week, one talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and another doing our news roundup, talking about any news that may come up from now until then, as well as the penultimate episode of Secret Invasion and my adventures with Superman. I just briefly want to touch on Secret Invasion real quick while I can. I loved this episode. My heart broke to see Talos fall very honorably, very dutifully. I'm again, as I've said before, very curious to see what, if any, metaphor the show lands on. That I think that's my biggest question is what is the show trying to say? And I've kind of arrived at the conclusion, at least for now, that the main onus of the show is mainly to kind of be like to almost be, for lack of a better term, like a Last Jedi for Nick Fury, for him to kind of get his groove back and come back from the way his psyche was shattered by the blip. And again, I do wish the season was longer. I think a story that has this much to say, that has so much going on, that has so many incredible performances in it, deserves a little bit more time to shine with that. So losing Talos broke my heart. Don Cheadle, incredible performance in this episode. The reveal that he is that Rhodey is a female Skrull wearing James Rhodes' face was an interesting reveal, and one that we kind of saw Don Cheadle lean into in this episode with like a little bit more of like a softer, effeminate touch, and we also got to see him just get like really sinister. And we got to see him in scenes where he's not in a situation where he has to keep up the guise of Colonel James Rhodes. There's a darkness to him. That conversation he has with Fury's now ex-wife in the church was something I found very riveting, and something that I really enjoyed. Again, Don Cheadle's intensity in that scene, and the edge he brought to their conversation. So very, 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 very happy with this week's episode. I feel like at the end of the day, Secret Invasion is going to end up being a snack and not a 5-course meal the way I think it should be. I hesitate to make Andor comparisons. I've seen a lot of people saying that Secret Invasion could be the MCU's Andor, and I think that's kind of reductive. I think that it's kind of like calling a spade in terms of, it's a spy thriller that takes place in this massive franchise that we've all kind of decided is kiddie shit. And I don't like that. I don't think that's a fair assessment of Star Wars or the MCU. I love Andor. I think it's an incredible work of art. But some of the people who praise Andor do it from a place of like mean-spirited, like pseudo-intellectualism. And it frustrates me to see that happen. Despite Andor being, again, one of the best pieces of Star Wars media to ever be made. It's praised for the wrong reasons. And a lot of people were kind of saying that about Secret Invasion going in. And I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, this could have been Marvel's Andor. I don't think Marvel needs an Andor because Andor is Andor. So maybe that's just me. But yeah, no, all of that said, I do wish this episode, this show had Andor's episode count. I wish we got 12, or I guess, what was it, 9 weeks of Andor, because we got the first 3 episodes in one go. I do wish we had a similar situation with Secret Invasion here. I think that to tell this story, I just think you need more room to breathe. I think you need more real estate, and I'm just mildly disappointed by it. But we're going into the penultimate episode. We'll see where things go. We'll see where they land. I just don't think the show has enough time to really to really explore the stakes it's trying to set, if that makes sense. So yeah, also just on the note of My Adventures with Superman, like we said, I love the tone that the show sets. The character design is incredible. The way it depicts Clark's powers. I love the fact that he is only using like a fraction of his abilities so far. Like it's just flight and super speed. It's like a Superman blue kind of super speed, which I think is great. And I can't wait for him to like realize like, oh, I can shoot lasers out of my fucking eyes. That'll be great. I think I'm very excited to watch the rest of the show. I really like the kind of hot twink Deathstroke. I'm into it. I'm into twink Deathstroke. My phone goes off the moment I say twink Deathstroke. The feds are coming for me. But no, that was fantastic. I love the inclusion. I look forward to seeing the kind of broader DC universe they maybe build in My Adventures with Superman. Just because of the immaculate tone and Superman vibe that is struck within this show. Travis and I often talk about like how frustrating it is when, it's like, oh, when's Daredevil going to show up in She-Hulk? When's Daredevil going to be in this? When's Daredevil going to be in that? Hey, when's Punisher going to be in Daredevil? Don't want to get into that, as I think it's reductive and takes away from the show. But just because of how well written My Adventures with Superman is, I do look forward to seeing if they ever try to expand out to a greater DC universe, as they already are. We have Livewire, we have Deathstroke, we have Amanda Waller, which is already like portraying a bigger universe than one would think from just a Superman cartoon. The fact that it's kind of implied Darkseid annihilated Krypton, which is a new one. I can't off the top of my head think of it. Maybe they did that in the New 52. Maybe that was a New 52 thing. I can't remember. I know some versions it's Brainiac, some versions it's just like natural calamity, and they like climate change Krypton into oblivion. Can't relate. But the boom tube that opens up in front of Krypton piqued my interest. But anyway, just trying to make up for a little bit of the lost TV talk there. Again, I appreciate you guys understanding. The thunderstorm was kind of spooking me. I'm sure you'll see it in the episode. My camera was lagging. Travis's camera was lagging. A lot of that was to do with the fact that when the storms get really bad in the area I live in now, the internet goes ape shit. And there have been episodes of the Versus series that have had to be delayed multiple times because of bad weather. Speaking of the Versus series, I'm going to go ahead and start doing the usual plugs. You guys can find Travis at Travis Political on all social media except for Threads. You guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Dark Jedi 2552. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon.
Give me $1.
Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus. Hold on. Keandre Lloyd.
Colin Provolone. Sir.
So good.
Steal yourself, Colin! Steal yourself!
This is me stealing myself.
And to Paco or his co-patron, Alex Jones.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
And to our last $10 patron, Ray Clausen, who wants you all to donate to Equality Texas, a Texan foundation that helps protect queer kids in the Lone Star State. Get on over there and help protect our queer brothers, sisters, and siblings down in the South. Speaking of our Patreon, our show Heroic History 101 is back. We are covering Flashpoint in our first episode back. That is available at the $5 tier of our Patreon. Also available at the $5 tier of our Patreon is the Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus series, a show with just about 30 episodes of the backlog in there. Lots of extra content on our Patreon. We are working very hard to get Porter Angle versus Count Dooku out to you as soon as we can. Schedules have been crazy, so I again appreciate all of your patience with that. I have a new job. I'm in the process of training for a new job. Spencer just got back in town. We're behind on other stuff like the Indiana Jones review. So very much appreciate everybody's patience with getting that out. Our hope with Heroic History 101 is to get an episode about Secret Invasion out after the show wraps up. But yeah, consider checking out the Patreon at the $10 tier. You get a shout out at the end of every single episode. You get access to a Nerd Academy podcast Patreon. You're on the Patreon, Nerd Academy podcast Discord channel, which we're trying to use more often. I got to get better at that. I'm barely good at posting when the episodes are out, so y'all got to be patient with me about Discord. So yeah, check that out. Consider supporting us. You get exclusive content, and you help us put on this show and keep the lights on and stuff. Other things, be sure again to check out this Sunday the Hyperspace Gauntlet. I cannot plug this enough. I am so excited for this event. Eli is very proud of how it's I'm very proud of Eli as a colleague, as a friend, as a competitor in his league. He's put a lot of hard work into gathering a good batch of people to kind of go to war in the ring on this live stream. It's going to be at 1:30 p.m. on Sunday, July 16th. So I hope to see all you guys in the comments rooting for Team TNAP. I'm competing. Kaysen is competing. Travis is competing. Connor's on the desk. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. So come cheer for your favorite podcast host, and boo Alden Diaz. Boo Alden Diaz. That's just generally a good rule, is to boo Alden Diaz. And I challenge everybody watching to clip this and tag Alden on Twitter and Threads and Instagram and maybe on Facebook. Go to MySpace. Fuck Alden Diaz. I'm kidding. I love him. But fuck that guy. He won't post my episode of Octo Radio. I'm kidding. He's working on it. He's editing. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you also very much for watching and listening. Be sure to tune in next week again. Hopefully, going to have an Indiana Jones 5 review out for you guys. Super excited for that. Seeing it today, when you're hearing this. Spencer and I are going to be seeing Indy. Cannot wait. I've been chomping at the bit, rewatching the movies, showing them to Taylor. She's not going to be able to make it to see it. But just getting to rewatch these movies just fills my heart. I'm a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull truther, and I will be till the day I die. But yeah, with all that, thank you all so much for watching and listening. One last time, because I made this clip and I thought I was going to get to relish it a little bit longer, so I'm going to make you watch it again.
I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real.
Boom. You looking for this?
Anyway, thank you. Richard's clawing at the door. Anyway, thank you all so very much. And class dismissed.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.